On the anniversary of the Korean War Armistice, North Korean leader Kim Jong Un delivered a speech pledging victory in an anti-U.S. showdown. North Korea refers to July 27, 1953, the day the armistice was signed, as Victory Day, despite the conflict ending in a stalemate that divided the Korean Peninsula. In his remarks, reported by state media KCNA, Kim Jong Un affirmed North Korea's commitment to building a rich country with a strong army and becoming honorable victors in the anti-imperialist, anti-U.S. showdown. This rhetoric is a common feature of North Korean state propaganda, particularly on significant national anniversaries, and underscores the country's continued antagonistic stance towards the United States. The Korean War, which lasted from 1950 to 1953, involved North Korea and its allies, China and the Soviet Union, against South Korea and a United Nations force led by the United States. The conflict ended with an armistice, not a peace treaty, meaning the two Koreas technically remain at war. Beyond the fiery rhetoric, North Korea's current geopolitical alignment is notable. South Korea has highlighted that North Korea is actively supporting Russia in the war in Ukraine, having deployed troops to the Kursk region and supplied munitions. Kim Jong Un also visited memorials honoring Chinese People's Liberation Army soldiers who fought alongside North Koreans during the Korean War, emphasizing historical alliances. South Korea, in contrast, does not mark the Armistice Day with major events, instead focusing on strengthening its alliance with the United States. Kim Jong Un's pledge of victory in an anti-U.S. showdown on the Korean War anniversary serves multiple key purposes for the North Korean regime. Firstly, it's a powerful message for domestic consumption, designed to bolster national unity and loyalty to the regime. By portraying the U.S. as a persistent enemy and declaring victory on what North Korea calls Victory Day, Kim reinforces the narrative that the state is constantly defending its sovereignty against external threats. This rhetoric justifies the country's military-first policy and the hardships faced by its population, attributing them to the need for a strong defense against a hostile foreign power. Secondly, it's a means of projecting strength and deterrence to the international community, particularly the United States and South Korea. By emphasizing its strong army and its resolve in an anti-imperialist struggle, North Korea aims to underscore its military capabilities and deter any perceived aggression. This often comes alongside continued development of its nuclear and missile programs, which are central to its self-declared deterrent. Thirdly, it helps maintain North Korea's ideological foundation. The regime's legitimacy is deeply intertwined with its anti-imperialist, anti-U.S. stance, which has been a cornerstone of its Juche ideology since its founding. Reaffirming this position on such a significant historical anniversary reinforces the core tenets of the state. Finally, the timing also allows North Korea to highlight its current geopolitical alignments. By visiting memorials to Chinese soldiers, and as South Korea points out, supporting Russia in Ukraine, Kim sends a signal of solidarity with countries that also have strained relations with the U.S. and its allies. This suggests a desire to strengthen these partnerships in a perceived anti-U.S. front. Kim Jong Un's strong anti-U.S. showdown rhetoric on the Korean War anniversary carries several significant consequences, both domestically and internationally. Domestically, the rhetoric aims to reinforce the regime's legitimacy and control. By framing the U.S. as a persistent threat, it justifies the immense resources poured into military development, including nuclear and missile programs, at the expense of civilian welfare. This narrative is crucial for maintaining internal cohesion and deflecting blame for economic hardships onto external adversaries. It also fosters a sense of national unity and vigilance against perceived imperialist forces. Internationally, such pronouncements escalate tensions on the Korean Peninsula and in the broader Indo-Pacific region. While often seen as posturing for domestic consumption, the bellicose language contributes to an atmosphere of distrust and heightened alert for South Korea, the U.S., and Japan. It necessitates continued strong deterrence postures and joint military exercises, which in turn are cited by North Korea as justification for its own military buildup, creating a dangerous cycle. Furthermore, Kim's statements, particularly those highlighting support for Russia in Ukraine, signal North Korea's alignment with anti-Western blocs. This solidifies its role as a disruptive actor on the global stage and could embolden other revisionist powers. It complicates efforts for denuclearization and stability in Northeast Asia, as it suggests North Korea is less likely to engage in good faith diplomacy with the U.S. and its allies. The rhetoric, while not always leading to immediate military action, contributes to a perception of an increasingly defiant and unpredictable North Korea. Addressing North Korea's anti-U.S. showdown rhetoric and its underlying nuclear ambitions requires a multifaceted approach involving diplomacy, deterrence, and international cooperation. There is no single magic bullet solution given Pyongyang's deeply entrenched ideology and security concerns. One key solution lies in resumed and sustained diplomatic engagement. This would ideally involve multilateral talks, similar to the defunct six-party talks, comprising North Korea, the U.S., South Korea, China, Japan, and Russia, as they provide a forum for all key stakeholders. The goal would be to establish a framework for verifiable denuclearization in exchange for security guarantees, economic assistance, and eventual normalization of relations. North Korea has often sought direct engagement with the U.S., but a comprehensive solution requires broader regional consensus. Alongside diplomacy, robust deterrence remains crucial. The U.S. and South Korea must maintain a credible defensive posture, including joint military exercises and missile defense systems, to dissuade any North Korean aggression. This signal of strength can create leverage for negotiations. Furthermore, sanctions enforcement needs to be consistent and effective to pressure North Korea to return to the negotiating table. However, there's also a recognition that an all-or-nothing approach to denuclearization may be unrealistic. Some analysts suggest exploring interim agreements or freeze-for-freeze deals that involve reciprocal, step-by-step measures to reduce tensions and build trust, rather than demanding immediate, complete denuclearization. Finally, addressing North Korea's internal situation through humanitarian aid, where permissible and monitored, and information dissemination could, in the long term, contribute to a more open society. However, direct external interference in regime change is widely considered destabilizing and counterproductive. The ultimate solution involves a patient, coordinated international effort to convince North Korea that its long-term security and prosperity lie in abandoning its nuclear weapons program and integrating with the international community.